change is scary for some, but we live in a world where there's always changes happening. Whether we like those changes that happen or not, they happen. And sometimes we don't have a choice but to change something. For an example, let's say you lose a job. You're forced to make changes, right? You have to look for another one, or some work, some form of income to keep paying the bills, because unfortunately those don't change. We're always going to be paying some bills. But in order to make some changes that involves growth, we have to come out of our comfort zones. We have to shift our perspectives on things. We have to let go of old beliefs about ourselves and about the world. We just have to come out of our comfort zones and tell ourselves while we're trying that everything's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. In fact, things are more okay when you come out of your comfort zone, because growth is involved with that. Let's say you really like someone, but you're scared to approach them, and you're used to people coming to you, and then you're like, okay, and then you're not really coming out of your comfort zone too much, but maybe just enough to say okay to that first date with someone new. This is just an example. Let's say you're too scared to say yes, because it requires some significant change around that, for it to work. You could miss an opportunity by not coming out of your comfort zone. You can miss the best things, the best experiences that's ever happened to you. I'm from North Carolina, and I was there for 40 years. I'm 43 now, and I'm in Colorado, and I've been here for the past 3.5 years. And I have no regrets, because it's brought me a lot of growth. Not everybody can pack up their car and drive cross country and start all over. And guess what? Within that thought of thinking that, oh, yeah, it'll be better in Colorado, let me pack up and go. Maybe there's more opportunities for me. Meeting people and new opportunities occur. And then there's a plateau within that. You have to keep the growth going. You have to keep coming out of your comfort zone. For me, it's been nonstop since I got here to Colorado. It's not been the most pleasant experiences, but there's been some great experiences, don't get me wrong. I'm not focusing on just the bad, I'm focusing on the whole picture of things. It's brought me a lot of growth. Never would I thought of 3-4 years ago, before coming out to Colorado, that I'd be doing Uber, picking up perfect strangers. Like, no, that's not me. I'm too timid, too shy, too scared. Same goes for me recording myself on video. Now to come out of my comfort zone when there's always a cop back behind you, when you know you're not doing anything wrong, you're not speeding, you know it's a cop, and you're just like, dang it. No one's getting pulled here, just passing by. Or that was a lookalike. Who knows? There's silver Dodges, you know. But anyway, I'm being raw and vulnerable here to share that moment. But yeah, my hands always get clammy and stuff. It's so funny. We're all programmed. We all have to shed a bunch of it. Like, it's just fears. And they're not even realistic. You know, like I said, I'm doing the speed limit. I'm actually doing well below the speed limit because the speed limit through here is 75. But I'm trying to conserve my gas. And they say anything over, I think it's over 70. It could be anything over 65. You're using a lot more gas per mile going faster. And so with gas being so high, like nationwide, especially out here, it's almost $5 a gallon. You know, I don't understand why people want to punch the gas and they're in a hurry and get going. It's like, you must have a lot of extra money for that gas that you're spending. Or they're just caught up in the rat race, which is probably it. And I get it. You know, I'm not going through the easiest moments right now. I've got Pluto on my moon. I've got, let's see, Mars squaring my Sun and Mercury. It's coming off the square now. And gosh, when that moon was in Pisces in the mix of that was yesterday. I didn't feel that great. You know, I was expecting to have a whole productive Uber day. Ended up just being a couple hours making $20, pulling over to get something to eat, try to boost the energy by, you know, getting some protein in me, and it did not work. I basically went back home and crashed for 2.5 hours. I slept hard. You know, with me being a Capricorn, I'm always like, let's go. Work. No. I've learned a long time ago, especially as I've gotten a little bit older, that you gotta listen to your body. Your body will give you signals. You can't keep pushing through. Society teaches us that. Work hard. The harder you work, the more you make. It's not even true anymore. Not with the way the planets have changed. Not with, like, Pluto was in Capricorn from like 2008 to 2024. Yeah, that worked then, but now Pluto's in Aquarius. And Aquarius is ruled by the planet Uranus. And when Uranus is in play with the energies, it's not stable. It's not consistent. It's erratic. It's unpredictable. So with these energies, you gotta learn to pivot. You gotta learn. You have no choice with these energies to come out of your comfort zone. If you want a new life, you gotta do something different. And you have to make changes. And sometimes people around you don't like that. They want you to stay the same. They enjoyed your older self version, you know, that, you know, goofed off more or wasn't so serious, or not that we have to be serious all the time, just, you know. As a Capricorn, I've learned to choose my battles, when to be serious and when we can have fun, you know, like there's a time and place for it, for sure. But yeah, we have to make changes, especially if you want to be successful in anything in life. You have to come out of your comfort zone. You know, the number one fear is public speaking. And trust me, I get it. It's so funny. I can jump on here, press record, talk for 10, 15, 20 minutes straight. Not really nervous about it because I'm talking about things that I've experienced. There's no script. I'm just talking off the top of my head, whatever comes to mind that I feel like phone overheated, of course. But I'm back. So what I was saying was, I'm just thinking of things off the top of my head. A little bit of channeling, but not too much. I'm driving, so I can't be as rested. And I just realized the speed limit's changing to 65, so I'm gonna take it down a notch. Meanwhile, someone wants to pass me like it's still 75, and it's not. But whatever. To each one's own. I don't want that ticket. I don't really want to waste any more gas than I already am. But anyway, my phone overheated. It really threw me off. Sorry, so bear with me. If you're tired of the same old, you have to make a change. Even if it's the smallest little change. Put the small change in your schedule. Let's say you want to lose weight because you're tired of the way you feel or the way you look, and you want to trim down or whatever, And the thought of going to the gym is just, it's like, how? Like, for me, it's like me trying to squeeze in the gym right now. My crazy schedule is kind of crazy, so I can get it. Like, some people have busy lives and they don't have the extra time, but you have to learn to make that extra time. There's no one telling you have to do things by the book every single day the same way. In fact, my personal opinion, and heck, y'all can check this out, do some research, because there might be some research out there that backs up what I'm about to say, but if you do the same thing over and over and over and you don't change, yeah, you're probably going to more than likely get dementia. You have to change things up. I did hear this a long time ago on the radio that they say if you go to work every day and you're going the same route, change your route, go a different way. When you get off work, go home a different way than you left for work that day, Just some small little changes. And then within those small little changes, you'll start seeing more and more of the new shine in a little bit. And then it inspires you to make another little change and another little change. Next thing you know, you have a whole nother life almost, And when you feel called to do something new that might seem like off the wall to regular people, do it. Like, for real. Like, no one really said, no, Kendall, don't go to Colorado. But when I got out to Colorado, there was people wanting me to come back home. And I was like, no, I'm sorry. Like, it doesn't mean that I don't love anyone there. It doesn't mean that I don't care. What I care about is the path that I'm supposed to be on. And the path that I'm supposed to be on is right now here in Colorado. Without getting into too much details there with that, my point is, some people might not like the changes that you make, like I was saying a few minutes ago. Like, I had a friend tell me that they wanted to do a water fasting for a few days, and the friend's like, oh my God, don't do that. That's awful. You'll die. You gotta eat. And it's like, let the person try it out. Everybody just wants to free flow with advice, thinking that they know best. Now, don't get me wrong, like, in a sense, that's what I'm doing with you guys right now. I'm giving kind of advice, but I'm coming from a place where I've experienced these things. I would be miserable as hell if I was still in North Carolina. And people to this day still don't understand that. And it's hard because you can't make them understand that. The only thing you can do is stand in your ground, stand in your truth, and say, look, this is the way it's supposed to be right now. This is my life. not yours. I understand that's not something you would do, but that doesn't mean that what I'm doing is wrong. You know, people get caught up in beliefs, how things should be. People put us in roles that they want. And it's like, no, life's too short. This is my life. And coming from someone who is all about variety, I always need change. But it still hasn't been easy for me. Even though I've embraced the hell out of some change and variety, it's still tough. Because you have those little programmed thoughts that are in your mind ticking around going, but Kendall, if you do this, Kendall, if you do that. It's like, ignore those thoughts. They're fear-based, and they're based off of other people's opinions, living a completely different life and lifestyle than you are. Don't go based off another person's lifestyle. If you want to do something different and you know it doesn't match their lifestyle, don't even talk to them about it. Don't. I mean, don't get me wrong, let them know what you're doing, especially when it comes to family. But at the same time, they will try to talk you out of doing something, because in the back of their minds they're like, oh, if you do this, then I will lose a part of you that I want you to keep doing for me. And it's like, that's selfish. And you know, something said sometimes about what someone wants to do. Here comes in the manipulation. Oh, that won't work out for you. Oh, she'll be back. Just watch. There's a bad accident up here, and just making sure that people are not going to dart out in front of me here. I-25 from that, you know, runs central Colorado. It's the main route to go to Denver from Colorado Springs down to Pueblo. Every day it's like 5 o'clock traffic on a Friday. Every day. Every day. 20 minutes after 4 on a Wednesday, and it's like 5 o'clock traffic on a Friday. At least at the highways that I'm used to, like I-40 that runs completely from the east to the west. I love that highway because I don't remember stopping quite this much on that highway. But anyway. I feel more confident with myself since coming out here. I trust myself more because I've been putting myself in positions where I've had to build more trust within myself. For example, Uber. You know, at first I'm like, oh, I don't know. Especially when you got a lot of homeless people in these bigger cities. You never know if you're going to pick up a homeless person. No judgment. They could be the best person ever and the sweetest person ever. You know, but the fear gets in our heads of like, no, they're gonna harm you or blah 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 blah. If I believed every fearful thought that I've had in my life, I'd probably be in some cave somewhere or something. I don't know. It's even hard to even like come up with that thought. Let me drink some water. It's pretty dry out here. It's funny. I have another job that I left last October because it stressed me out so bad. To me, it just was not worth it anymore. And I wanted to focus on school. And so I left the job, but I just got it back like last week because I need the extra income right now. I'm taking a break from school and focusing just on making money, trying to, build a business on top of doing Uber and working for this other company. And this other company that I work for is cold calling people. And you're on a system that automatically dials out for you. It's nerve-wracking. That was my first step out of coming out of my comfort zone when I got here to Colorado when I picked up the job. And it's funny because when I came back last week and got on the phones to call out, I was like, man, why am I still nervous? I have done so many videos, posted them online everywhere with thousands of views, and I'm still nervous about getting on the damn phones for like 4 hours. And I was like, I really want to know why I'm so nervous in comparison to even doing Uber and picking up perfect total strangers that are across. I've met so many people from East Coast, Northern East Coast, Texas, all over, California. I picked up one guy from Sweden. So people from New York. I've met a variety of people and I've really enjoyed it. I've had some really good conversations with people. And I have felt more stable within myself, confident, not like walking on eggshells and stuff like that, around perfect strangers than people I was close to. I was like, what the heck is this about? Why do I walk on eggshells more about people that I know better than a complete stranger? And it's because I've learned and saw patterns of them trying to shape me into a role that I did not want to be in or be. Unrealistic expectations from others, not discussed, just assumed. And it's like, I personally don't work that way, but I guess a lot of people do, and it's been taught based off of a variety of reasons. We've learned a lot of things since our childhood. We get what we want or need and fulfilled if we do X, Y, and Z, but X, Y, and Z might not be the actual best way to be, like the little kid that like manipulates to get a cookie. It seems all innocent and it's kind of cute and funny, and I like that example, but that same thing keeps occurring as they get older and older and older into their adulthood. And then they have learned to take control over people that freely give it. I was one of those people. Just wanted to bond and connect with people, it was really important to me. But it's not worth losing yourself just to make someone else happy, just to maintain a connection. That's not real. And this can happen in toxic situations too, which is extremely harmful for someone to be in. Like, it's not pretty, but you have to break it. You have to find a way of breaking it. And sometimes you have to show your ass to break it. Like, stand in your truth. Like, I'm not putting up with this shit no more. Like, that's fine if you want to be that way, but I'm not going to be around it and be forced to be that way when my heart's like, no, that's not right. I'm being so vague right now. I hope it makes sense. I'm trying to think of more examples. I guess a good example would be like, everybody thinks, oh, the only way you'll make money and be successful is if you work a 9-to-5 job. Like, okay, that might work for some, but when people think outside the box and think differently, they're usually very creative and have their own structure of being. And within that, that don't always work underneath someone else that's the boss. You know? So going back to what I was saying, one reason for me personally why I still get nervous getting on the phones is because I'm stuck reading a script. I cannot get off script. I have to stick to what is presented to me in black and white. And not everybody, you know, can handle that. I can give you an example. The other day, I was on the phone and the person's like, oh, okay, well, what's the survey about? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to stick to my script here and read one screen at a time. But we can try a few questions first to see how it goes. That's all I'm allowed to say. And that last little part is not even a script. It's just part of something that they told us that we can use as a rebuttal to try to get them to come in and do the survey. And sometimes that answer is not enough for them. They're like, no, I'm sorry, I really need to know what the survey is about. And I'm like, I literally told this guy the other day, I stepped out of the script a little bit and was like, I'm sorry, sir, I don't know what to tell you. I have to read my script. And he hung up. And then I moved forward. And then I'm just like, it's just a little bridge for me right now. I'm very aware that, you know, me reading a script is not me being myself, and I'm playing someone else's role. Uber, there's no scripts. The only thing is point A to point B you have to follow. It makes sense, right? The person needs to go to a certain place, and you want to make sure they get to that place accurately. Sometimes there's detours. Sometimes there's holdups of traffic. And other than that, you're free to speak basically whatever you'd like to talk to. And, you know, I've worked so much retail back in the day that I'm pretty good with customer service. So it's not like I'm going to start talking about something that's going to be triggering to somebody. Now, does that promise 0 triggers for someone? No. You could walk into a room and trigger somebody. I have a kink in my neck today. That sucks. Anyway. But if you find yourself just feeling like yourself anymore, feeling dead inside, it means something needs to change and be different. And I really should be getting back to work, but I felt pulled to do this video. Throughout this traffic, and you know what? Me talking about everything I just talked to about while paying attention to the road has kept me more at peace than if I was probably listening to music or not recording, sitting, driving in silence and just in my head, you know, like, all right, dude, come on. I'm from the South, so I'm gonna be nice and let people over on the hallway. Some people here are not like that. Anyway. Yeah, like, I feel like I'm in my flow, even though I'm in the middle of not the best traffic. It's that time of day. It never fails on this highway, like I was saying. But anyway, it's all a learning experience. I don't know everything. By no means. And sometimes in the past I've felt like I've had these little conversations with friends and they just kind of look at me and they start trying to like pull me down or like look at me different, treat me differently. And it's like in the back of my head I'm like, okay, from experiences of the past where I probably was sounding more like a know-it-all, believe me, I don't know it all. You know, it's a daily thing at moment to moment of using the best wisdom and experience and knowledge that you have from your own experiences and use it as a toolbox to get through the next day. And I just want to help people with the tools I've learned to teach them how they can maybe incorporate their own kind of tools and obstacles to go around, like big construction barrels coming into the lane here. I'm getting off the highway for now. I think decisions. A part of me wants to go to the Overlook here and share that with you guys. But at some point I will definitely need to hit the road again and pick up a few passengers before it gets too late, because my number one rule that I've made to myself about Uber is I don't do nights. I'm not going to pick up drunk people or nighttime creatures that could be suspicious, you know. But I have my tools in case anybody wants to pull some shenanigans, thinking I'm some little weak person when I'm not. I'm pretty strong after the things I've been through. But, you know, I've got pepper spray and this nice little tool thing here. All kinds of little parts, you know. Use your own imagination. I don't like hurting people. I would never intentionally hurt someone. But if I had to defend myself, I'd whip that out for sure. But anyway. Alright. Let's see. What else? I talked about changes, coming out of the comfort zone. I think some people don't like change because they're also happy with the way things are. But they're not really happy with the way things are at the same time. And they know that, but they don't know what to do about it. And it's like, you gotta see where your habits are. You know, like, if you want to quit smoking, you got to make changes to quit smoking, whether it be cutting back at first or going cold turkey. It works for some people. And I'll be honest, I'm a smoker, and quitting cold turkey would not benefit me. I think I would feel it instantly in my body. Stressed to the max. I wouldn't even like my own mood. But with that said, with all the little toolboxes that I have, I probably would do better handling it cold turkey. But at the same time, when you know that there's an easier way on the system, your body, and your mind, especially when it's been a very long habit, like for me, over 20 years, cutting back is the best way to be. I don't like getting over, but we're gonna get over. That is a short line for that turning line there. Everybody's sticking out in the straight line. Reroute, redirection, see? There's not always a straight shot. There's not always a straight flow. But you can choose to keep that smoothness within yourself. Things might not stay smooth on the roads, but how you respond and how you can look to see if you can carefully maneuver without pulling out in front of somebody to get away from the obstacle or the stopped traffic that doesn't want to move as quickly as they should be moving because the light's been green for a while, for example. Yeah, you have to watch and pay attention to how you respond to it. Like, everybody out here is trying to do the same thing I'm trying to do on the basic level of survival. They want to make it home safe. They want to make it to their next place safe. They don't want to have to deal with a bump up. They don't want to increase their insurance, especially out here in Colorado when it's high as hell already. Seriously, if anybody plans on moving to Colorado, you better go ahead and add another extra $100 to your car insurance a month or whatever. You know, that's just a guess. Because it does depend on so many factors of one's credit and accident history and stuff like that. But it's like, I heard a few years ago when I first came out here, it's like not number one, but the 5th top state of the most accidents nationwide, hence why the car insurance companies jack up the rates. And then on top of that, you got the rates jacking up nationwide too for everyone, just because. Okay, dude, you can come over, but you got a trailer, you gotta keep that in mind, dude. Dang. Anyway. See, that's the most reaction that person's gonna get from me. I'm not gonna lay down on my horn like most people would. You know, they're wanting to get to their next destination safely as possible and close to being on time as possible. Being present. It takes practice, honestly, you know, to be present. But when you're present, less things bother you. It's more freeing. It feels so much better. I'm gonna let this person get over in front of me too. You know, some people might ask, why do I do that? Why do I keep letting people over? It's going to slow me down. Well, I know it's going to slow me down, but guess what? What if they have a child in the back seat that's sick and they really want to get home so that child can, you know, get to bed and feel better or throw up? I hope not, but you know what I mean? Like, you don't know. You don't know what other people are going through around you. That's why I try to be as nice as possible and do small things for people, you know. Sometimes people have gone through a lot of stuff, turn bitter, and they just start not caring about other people. But I'm not that person. I've been through a lot, but I still choose to be the best version of myself. Even when other people around me want to be assholes. Like, okay, you can choose that, but I'm going to stand in my lane and just, you know, be. It's a choice. Responding to things outside of you is a choice on how you respond. And even, it's a choice even to not respond. That is still a choice. You don't have to always respond. Sometimes you can just, you know, do a little head tilt like that, like, and not say anything. Especially when you know that other person's probably going to be argumentative or just kind of like mock what you got to say back, even though what you have to offer is probably some really helpful advice. To each one's own. That's one thing I've struggled with. It's like, why don't you listen to me? I've got good advice. And it's because they have to learn on their own, in their own way, and that's okay. And so that's why I really like doing videos like this, because it's like, you know, half the people that come and find it, maybe they stopped watching 10 minutes ago. You know, for some, they're like, oh man, I want to hear more. this is a cool little journey ride here. Let's see what happens. Like, this could be interesting. Like, the people that don't stick around, they're gonna miss out on this pretty view about the show. But again, it's a choice, right? That doesn't make me better than them. That doesn't make them better than me or anything like that. It just is what it is. But an opportunity to miss out on, for me personally, is very disheartening. Alright, let's see what I can do here. Unplug that. Open the door. See if it turns around. No, I don't think it's going to turn around. Oh, I'm going to turn the phone around me. Check that out. It's the Garden of the Gods here in Colorado Springs. That is Pikes Peak, the tallest mountain in the United States. I think it's like, I used to know it by heart. It's either 14,000 something or 15,000 some odd feet. And where I'm at's probably, I'm gonna guess 6,400. Yeah, that's a pretty view. The clouds are coming in. Oh, let's check this bird out. Be like the bird. Just glide. I think that's a hawk. Drifting with the wind. Beautiful. Alright. Well, I guess I'm gonna go for now. But thank you for sticking around and watching. I had a good little break. Nice little chat. I'm gonna merge my previous video into this video since my phone overheated and stopped recording halfway through traffic. But it's okay. We can blend them. That's what's cool about photo editing and video editing. We can, you know, re-merge what we wanted as a whole. Anytime. Thank you for watching. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe for more, and I'll try to be doing more videos here soon as I am feeling called to do more videos. Have a great day.